All right, it is day 10 of the 12 days of player development. And today is the sports role you didn't hear about in sports management. What? Yes, today is the sports role that you didn't hear about in sports management. Sports management students, have you heard about player development? Have you? Hey, it's a role that's growing. We're going to talk about why you may not have heard about it and what can happen. And if you've heard about it, let me know. If you're a sports management student watching this, go in the show notes and say, put your university, your professor, and say they've talked to us about player development. Hello. My name is Ed Jones. I'm the founder of Beyond the Field, where we develop people and elevate programs. I'm a former sports administration student at the University of Houston. Actually, my degree is right here. Yeah, let's go. And so I am excited. I'm always excited to talk about sports management. Oh, that's getting, oh, it's got some dust on it. 2009. I'm always excited to talk about sports management and talk about player development. So I'm excited to be here. I was fortunate to be in a player development role at the University of Houston, University of Kansas, and Baylor University. So number one, let's talk about why most students haven't heard about player development if they haven't. It's because it is not a traditional role, and it may not be in some of the literature that students are going through, right? This is a role that I started in 2016, and maybe 10 years before that, it really got going. So this role on the college level is about 20 years old. NFL level, you're looking mid 90s. So look about 30 years. So this is a position that's grown slowly, and now it's grown immensely in the last 10 years. It has grown immensely. I've done studies on that. Matter of fact, right here, skyrocketing growth of player development. You can look at that. But it is growing. And so that may be a reason you've never heard of it. Could possibly be a reason you never heard of it. That is something new. It's something that's growing. And unfortunately, it's different on every head coach. It's different in every program because it's based off what the head coach wants. So it's not this is what it's like. And it's not a linear career where you're like a player development GA, coordinator, manager. It has a lot. The coaches hire who they want. They get what they want in the role. And so it's one of those that is getting close to getting some uniformity. And so maybe that's why you haven't heard about it, right? Maybe you haven't heard about it. Maybe you have. I don't want to assume, but I've talked to some students that have been like, I've never heard of this role. I didn't know about this, right? And so that's what that is. So let's talk about what player development is, right? Player development is the enhancement of the athlete experience through holistic and intentional programs and initiatives. The enhancement of the athlete experience through holistic and intentional programs and initiatives. In my role, when I was in the role, I was responsible for all the off the field stuff that had to deal with the player as far as helping them grow as a young man. I worked in college football. And so I was the academic liaison, the housing liaison. I worked very closely with recruiting. I was over mentorship. I was the campus liaison. I was the community liaison, right? The career liaison. I worked closely with student athlete development, right? I was a culture. I would have to talk to the coach about culture and creating cultural different things like that. And so that was fun, right? It was all about enhancing the experience and parking. Oh my goodness, I was a parking liaison. That's crazy. But it was all about enhancing the experience of the athlete. And so that's what player development is. Now, who is this role perfect for? Who is this role perfect for? If you're looking to make a lot of money, go watch another video, right? This role is perfect for people who care about people and care about the growth of people, right? You have to care about the growth of people, and you got to like people. Like I talked about, our tagline here at Beyond the Field is develop people, elevate programs. We want to develop people at our core. And so you have to care about people. Why? Because for me, you're dealing with 18 to 24 year olds. And that is I remember when I was 18, 24, right? My brain wasn't fully developed. And so you have to love people. You have to be there for people. You have to enjoy seeing people grow. You have to enjoy holding people accountable, right? You have to enjoy being like offensive lineman. You can be in the background. You can doing a lot of stuff, have a lot of impact on a program most people won't see. And that's fine. You're going to have to sow seeds that you may never see. That's fine as well. This is for a person who loves to collaborate with people. This is for a person who really, really cares about people. You have to care about people. I tell people, they're like, well, if I'm looking for someone in player development, what do I need to look for? There's 3 things you need to look for. And I talk about them right here in this podcast episode, or right up here. They can have it up here. And you need to find someone that's a relationship builder, someone that is a lifelong learner, and someone that is adaptable, right? And if those are three of your qualities, then this role is or could be for you. And you got to be selfless. You got to put others above you and others in front of you, right? And lift others up when you want to shine, or maybe you should deserve to shine, right? But that's part of it. That's who this role is for. And you got to be creative. You got to be innovative, right? You got to get things done. Every day is going to be different, right? You got to get it done, right? You got to be a person that sees problems and sees obstacles, and you're good. You got to be a person who has a growth mindset. Like, hey, I can learn and develop as I develop others. Oh, let's go. Now, the reality of the role is a lot of people see the pictures, and maybe you look at this podcast and you think, oh man, he got to do this with athletes. Here's pictures of him with athletes. Here's this, here's that, here's this. This is awesome. That's awesome. This is great. That's great, right? The reality of the role is, man, look, that's like 5 to 10% of the role. A lot of it is trying to fight to get on the schedule. A lot of it is the challenges, right? Somebody asked me what's the biggest challenge is not having the support of the coaches, right? Or the full support, I should say, in some of the situations I had, right? You want the full support of the coaches, and it's tough. It's tough dealing with 18 to 24-year-olds, right? It's tough. They're learning commitment. They're learning the importance of accountability and responsibility, where you have a program. You got all this programming lined up. And I know I talked about how to get athletes coming to program on day 5 of the 10 days of player development. And you got this program lined up and they don't show up. And it's like, man, like that stuff is tough. Or that stuff is tough when you're doing a great job. You need resources. You've been promised resources and you don't get the resources you need, but you still got to develop these guys. There's realities that people don't understand what you're doing, because it's not a lot. It's a very qualitative position, right? And you can't always easily quantify. I believe you can quantify, but not as easily quantify as the academic staff or the strength staff or the dietitian or sports med or the offensive coordinator that can come in there with numbers. And that's the reality of it, right? It can be tough. It can be difficult. It can be very challenging, but you can do it. And that's why I wrote the player development guide. Because I want this to help people. This is what I wrote for my time at the University of Houston, University of Kansas, and Baylor University. I wrote this to help. And if you are a sports management director and you're looking at this and you say, look, my students need to know about this role, then this book has to be required reading for your course. Has to be. You can reach out to me to get bulk copies, and I'll work with you. You can reach out to me, email me at edward@btfprogram.com. But if you are a sports management student, if you're a sports management director, and you want your your students to know about player development and what the role entails and how they can have success in it, boom, this book is for you. You have to. It's imperative. You have to get a copy of that book. That's why I wrote it. I wrote it because when I started in 2016, I didn't know what I was doing. When I was a sports management student, if I'd have had that book, this book would have been highlighted through and through. I wrote that for you, for the person who's watching this, the 18-year-old that says, I want to do player development, right? The 22-year-old that just switched from another major because you found out you want to work in sports and now you found out you want to help people. I wrote that book for you. I wrote that book for the sports management director who just got their doctorate and is excited to lead a sports management department into what sports is going to look like in the future. I wrote this book for you. I wrote this book for the people like you who are interested in this role and want to have an incredible head start once you get into the role, right? And dominate the position. If that's you, you have to get that book. You have to get that book. And one thing I've done recently, I love speaking to sports management departments. I love speaking to sports management departments. I spoke to 3 in the last month, and I love, because I remember being a student. I remember being that student when we had guest speakers come in, and I got to see the hope, a glimmer of hope that I can do what they're doing. That person is doing something I can do. That person looks like me. That person is from the same city as me. That person has went through the challenge. That person has come in and educated me and said, hey, this is a role that you can do, right? Now, I didn't have that specifically for player development, but I love to provide that for those students there. So, hey, sports management, this is a sports role you may not have heard of if you're in sports management, you're a sports management student, or if you're in high school thinking about sports management, but you know about this role now. This role is player development. It's incredible. It's the enhancement of the athlete experience through holistic and intentional programs and initiatives. And this book details it all. Now, if you're like, oh, I like that, you want more, after you get the book, come to the 2026 Player Development Summit. This is where we'll have a gathering of professionals in the space on a professional level, the collegiate level, high school level. Professionals will be together getting professional development. And if you are a sports management department and you want to get your students there, you say, I want my students to go there, email me at edward@btfprogram.com. We will get student tickets. We'll work that out for you and your students. And I want to see y'all there. Let's go. As I always say, go out and create generational impact. Don't wait, create that generational impact today. And for you students that want to learn more about my path, this video right here about my 10 years in this role and helping this role is right there.